guys, welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how I created this look right here. Girl, spring is upon us. The weather is finally getting warmer. So, of course, it's about that time to bring out these pastels, honey. So, I'm super excited to show you guys how I created this look today. I love this look, you guys. I am so obsessed. It's so pretty. So girly. I cannot wait to show you guys how I created this look today. Before we jump in to today's video, I did want to thank Dossier for actually working with me on today's video. I'm super excited to be working with them actually for the second time. You guys have seen me talk about them on my channel before. If you guys are not familiar with Dossier, they're basically a fragrance brand, and basically all that they do is they create fragrances inspired by your favorite luxury brands without the hefty price tag, which I am here for, you guys. These fragrances literally smell like the ones that they're inspired by. So I did get 2 of them. When you actually receive your fragrance in the mail, it looks like this. This is what the box looks like. By the way, if you guys are interested, I'm gonna leave all the details down below in the description box so you guys can check them out. When you open it up, you do get kind of like this little info card, and I definitely recommend that you guys hold on to this because this literally tells you everything that you need to know, from the return policy to what fragrance it's inspired by, as well as the notes of the fragrance and what the concentration is. So definitely hold on to this. But when you open it up, you do have your full-size fragrance that you pay for, which is right here, and then you have a little sample on the side. Now, the sample is there for you to try first before you go ahead and open up the bigger bottle, which is amazing because if you actually end up not liking the fragrance, you do have 30 days risk-free to return your order and get a full refund. Yes, girl, a full refund and no questions asked. So I think that is super amazing because I hate to order things online and not be able to smell them, especially something like a fragrance. So the fact that you're able to return it if you don't like it is everything, you guys. So that first fragrance that I just showed you guys is called Floriental Brown Sugar. That was actually inspired by YSL Mon Paris. You guys, that's one of my favorite perfumes of all time. It smells expensive. She's bougie. Like, it just smells amazing. And it's one of those fragrances that when you spray it on your skin, you're not going to get a headache because it's not too strong, which I love. The second one that I got is Floral Peony, and this one is inspired by Chloe, which is another great perfume, you guys. Definitely a cult favorite, and I see a lot of people talk about this perfume, so I'm excited to give it a try. I'm really excited to have been able to work with them in today's video. Now we're going to go ahead and jump into this makeup look. Are you guys excited? I am very excited. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my makeup today. I knew that I wanted to play with pastels, some lighter colors, get into the spring vibe, and I knew I also wanted to play a little bit more with the Glamlite Ice Cream Dream palette, which is the main palette that I'm using for today's video. And you guys, I love, love, love this look. So let's go ahead and jump in to today's video. Before we jump in, please don't forget to give this video a huge thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you guys have not already. And of course, without further ado, if you would like to see how I created this makeup look today, then just keep on watching. Alright, you guys, so let's go ahead and jump into today's makeup look. I'm super excited about today's look. It's finally getting warmer outside. Spring is approaching and warm weather is coming. So, of course, I'm starting off with my P.LOUISE base in the shade Rumor Number 2. I'm taking just a buffing brush. This one is from Morphe, and I'm just going to make sure that I have a nice, even layer of this base on my lid. You don't want it to be too thick, but obviously you want to make sure that it's covering your entire lid. So we're going to be jumping into the CIRCUS Temp palette first. This one is from the brand LAROC. This is a UK brand, and this palette is stunning. So the first shade I'm going to be using is the shade Carousel, which is that beautiful pink. And of course, I'm going to be taking this on a small blending brush. I believe this is an M504 from Morphe, and I'm going to work this into the inner part of my crease. Now, right now, as always, I'm just concerned about really building up the intensity of that color. I did go ahead and tone down the lighting on my camera just so that way you can see how beautiful this pink eyeshadow is. It is gorgeous. So I am packing on this color first. Next, I'm going to go ahead and jump in to the shade Bubblegum, which is a beautiful pink color as well, but it's definitely a few shades lighter than the shade Carousel. And I'm going to take this on a fluffy blending brush And I'm going to start to diffuse those edges. Obviously, we don't want no harsh lines. It's supposed to look really beautiful and effortless. So that's what I'm going to do. But of course, with all the blending, you obviously lose pigmentation. So I did go back in with the shade Carousel just to make sure that once I go ahead and cut the crease, you'll be able to see how it goes from a darker pink to a lighter pink. So to go ahead and cut the crease, of course, I'm going to clean up my lid first with some Garnier Micellar water, specifically the one with the pink cap, right on a Q-tip. And I'm basically going to create a guideline for me so that way I can go ahead and cut the crease super easily. You guys see this method in almost all my videos. If I'm cutting my crease, I'm definitely doing this. So as you guys can see on the other eye, I have like that more like lifted shape at the end of the pink shadow. And as you guys can see, I created that shape with the micellar water instead of doing it with the eyeshadow. To cut my crease today, I am of course using blank canvas, but I'm also mixing it with another P.LOUISE base, and it's in the shade Extra Spicy. It has a little bit more pink to it. It's like a light pastel pink. And you guys, honestly, I'm just going to cut my crease as I usually do. But like I said, I'm going to create that flick towards the end of that pink shadow, towards the outer part of my eye, just so that way I can have that really nice shape. And that is basically it. Super easy. So I will say, when you're working with blank canvas, if you put it all the way in your inner corner like I do, just be sure to not forget about it and don't let it sit there for too long. You want to make sure it's blended before it dries down, because if not, you'll have that super harsh paint right in the inner corner, and it is not cute. So now that the base is down and all blended, we're going to jump into some more P.LOUISE bases. So these right here are a part of their pastel collection. So this first one here is called Winter Rose. It's such a beautiful pink base, you guys. I wanted to show you guys these up close because they're stunning. And then the next one we're going to be using is called Vivid Violet, which is this beautiful purple. And then the last one is going to be Touch of Frost, which is this one right here. Gorgeous, gorgeous blue. So of course we're going to jump in to the pink one first. So I'm taking the shade Winter Rose and I'm just packing that on the lid. Obviously there's a little bit of a negative space in between these pastels and that pink crease, so you don't want to take this up too high. It's meant to look more of like a blended, like little hint of color. And then I'm going to go into the purple and I'm going to lay down the purple as well. And these are all the bases. We're not putting any eyeshadow yet. I started off with the bases and then we're going to move on to shadow. So then the last shade, of course, is the blue, which is Touch of Frost. I'm going to go ahead and pack that down. And the reason why I'm doing this is because when you work with pastels, they're usually very, very light. So I'm trying to get as much intensity as possible. And honestly, working with these bases is the perfect way. So to go ahead and actually set these with some eyeshadow, I'm going to be using the Glamlite Ice Cream Dream palette, and the first shade I'm going to be using is this shade right here. This is the pink and it's called Mochi. It's one of my favorite light pinks that I have in my collection, you guys. It is the most beautiful eyeshadow. I love it. And as you guys can see, because I have that sticky base down, it literally adhered to it and it just made it super pigmented. The next shade that I'm going to go into is the shade Honey Lavender, and of course I'm going to use that to set the purple. And these shades just worked perfectly with the bases because they were like the powder version of these P.LOUISE bases, so it was perfection. So I went in with that purple, and then for the blue, I'm actually going to set the blue with the shade Mint Chocolate. Super pretty pastel blue, and I am going to go ahead and wing out that blue because I wanted to go obviously further than where I stopped that pink. Now, as you guys can see, they're pastel shades obviously, so I wanted to add a little bit of depth. So I'm going to go back into the shade Carousel, and I'm going to put this very, very close to the lash line because I want to keep that really pretty gradient from the darker pink to the pastel. And this is just going to help to make these colors pop just a little bit more. You don't have to do this, but I had preferred to. Then I'm going to go into the shade Trapeze, and I'm going to put that at the base of my lash line where the purple is. And like I said, this is just giving it a little bit of intensity so that way it's not just like a pastel color that you can barely see. And then for the blue, I went in with the shade Crazy, and all three of these colors that I'm using to intensify the eye are all from the LAROC Pro, the Circus Tint palettes, in case you guys are interested. So moving on to the glitter. I'm going to be using this glitter from Anastasia Beverly Hills. This was a part of her holiday collection a few years back, and it was just a kit of what looked like white glitters, but as they shift, they all shifted a different color. So this one right here shifted to like a lavender purple, and I decided to add this right over top of those pastel colors, but only towards the inner part of the eye. I did go ahead and lower the lighting again just so that way you can see the beauty of this glitter. I wanted a little sparkle moment, but to not overpower the pastel shades. and this was perfect. By the way, I just wet my brush a little bit with some water and it stuck to my lid with no problem. So now I'm going to go ahead and add liner to my lash line, of course, before I put on my falsies. This is just the Cara Beauty liner. I do have a discount code with them if you guys are interested. This liner is so bomb and so pigmented. And then of course for mascara, I'm using the L'Oreal Air Volume. I've been obsessed with it. It is so good. If you have not tried it, you definitely need to. And then I went ahead and popped on my lashes. I don't know what lashes these are, you guys. I was trying to think of which ones they were, but I have no idea, so I apologize. But I decided to add these. They were in like my little eyelash case. So now we're going to go ahead and move on to the face makeup. I'm going to be using the NYX Marshmallow Primer. I haven't used this one in a little bit. It's one of my favorites. It literally does everything for you. It's smoothing, hydrating, it smells good, it gives you brightness to the skin, it makes your makeup last all day. It's bomb. And then for foundation, I'm going to be using the ZOEVA Authentic Skin Luminous Foundation, and mine I believe is in the shade 210 and Energetic. I recently discovered this foundation and it is to die for. It gives you the most beautiful luminosity to your skin, but it has full coverage. It does not feel heavy. It blends really well. I've blended it both with the sponge and also with the brush. Still looks beautiful no matter what tool you decide to use. It is stunning. It's definitely one of my favorites. And then for cream bronzer, I'm going to be using the Chanel Soleil Tan Cream Bronzer. I love this bronzer. I've used this so much, and as you guys can see, it still looks brand new. So I feel like I say this all the time, but it's definitely worth the higher price tag. I love it. It's so beautiful. It blends really well and it smells really nice as well. So I used this today to actually bronze up my skin. I wanted to give a break to all my other cream bronzers that you guys see all the time. This one's amazing. A little bit bougie, but amazing. So whatever's left on my brush, I usually take it onto the sides of my nose. And then for concealer, I'm going to be using the JOUER Essential High Coverage Concealer. This is my baby, you guys. I love this concealer, and I have yet to find a concealer that is as good as this one. It's got full coverage, makes your skin look really smooth, gives me the perfect amount of brightness, blends really well. It is just overall such an amazing concealer. So I'm going to go ahead and obviously highlight everywhere I like to highlight with my concealer. And then of course I'm just going to blend it out with my same sponge from Colored Rain. And can you guys see the coverage? It is so good. By the way, I'm in the shade Cream Cafe if you guys are interested or if you're around my skin tone. So now to go ahead and of course set the concealer in place, I'm going to be using my COLLAB Set the Stage powder. I haven't used it on my channel in a little bit. I've been giving it a break, but I wanted to use it today. This is the perfect under eye setting powder, you guys. It's so beautiful, so smoothing. I am obsessed with it. It keeps my under eyes looking really nice and bright. I hate when a setting powder for under my eyes kind of dulls down my concealer. This does not do that. So I'd be looking crazy for a little bit because it looks like stark white under there. But once I do bronzer and everything else, it just stays really nice and bright in that area. And I love it. So to set the rest of my face, I'm going to be using the No. 7 Lift and Illuminate powder. This is also such a beautiful powder. I don't have to talk too much about it because you guys see it very often on my channel at this point. And then for bronzer, I'm going to be using the Matte Manoy bronzer from Physicians Formula. This is a really beautiful bronzer. If you guys have been on the fence and don't know if you want to buy it, if you don't need it because you already have the original butter bronzer, girl, you need it. It is so beautiful, so smoothing, and it has a nice amount of warmth without making you look orange. I love it. So moving on to a blush. I'm actually using this blush palette from ZOEVA. You guys, I saw this packaging in TJ Maxx and it was $4.99. Look how beautiful. So I actually mixed those two pink shades. This was such a gem to find. I usually do not buy makeup at those TJ Maxx and Marshalls kind of place. I just get a little bit scared. But this was definitely worth it and it looked brand new, untouched, so I grabbed it. For highlight, I'm going to be using this Doll highlighter. I believe it's called Doll Beauty, and this is called the Hall of Fame highlighter palette. I've had this in my collection for so long. Never used it. Story of my life. So I mixed those two shades and applied it to my skin, and at first I was like, where is it? But then I did actually like rub my brush in there, and obviously as you guys can see, the highlight was freaking gorgeous. So of course I applied highlight everywhere I usually do. So now we can move on to finishing up the eyes. So we're going to be using all the bases again, with the exception of using one more yellow base that I'll tell you the color of when we get to that point. But I'm first grabbing the shade Winter Rose, which is that beautiful pink, and I'm taking it on a flat definer brush. I'm actually using all of these on a flat definer brush. The only thing that I will tell you is as I'm applying the P. Louise base, I'm setting it immediately with the eyeshadow that corresponds to that base, because number one, I do wear contact lenses because your girl is super blind and I do not want to get this base on my contact lens, and second, because I just don't want to get it in my eye in general. So with setting it immediately, you ensure that it's not moving from your waterline at all. So then I went in with the purple, of course, and then all the way at the outer corner I'm going to go in with the shade Touch of Frost, which is that beautiful blue that I use. And like I said, I'm using those same pastel shades from the Glamlite Ice Cream Dream palette just to make sure everything is nice and set. And then I did go ahead and connect my lower lash line to that outer corner just to make sure everything looked really nice and cohesive. So now jumping into the yellow, I'm using another P. Louise base. This one is in the shade Yummy Yellow, and I'm just popping that in my inner corner, but also being sure that I diffuse it so that way there's just not like a dot of yellow in my inner corner. And then to actually set that base in place, I'm going to be using the shade Mango from the Ice Cream Dream palette, and this shade was gorgeous, you guys. So I did heavily pack it on because I wanted to make sure you see that pop of yellow, but then I also decided to add a shimmer, and the shimmer that I'm using is called Lemon, and it's from the same Ice Cream Dream palette from Glamlite. By the way, I do have a discount code with them if you're interested in their palette. It's definitely a must. So I went ahead and just added some mascara to my lower lash line. And now for the lips, I finally picked up a new lip liner. Okay, this is the same KKW lip liner that I always use in the shade Nude number 2, but it's finally a brand new one. Mine was so tiny. That was the first lip liner that I've ever like finished. It's insane. So I lined my lips, of course, and then I'm going in with the Laura Lee Los Angeles liquid lipstick in the shade Nakey Nakey. You guys know this is my favorite nude, and it's kind of just like my base. Like, I have to put this down, and then I can obviously manipulate it to be more pink or be more like a pale nude. It is just perfect. Like, I have to have this first. So I did apply that, and then I am going to actually go in with a lipstick that I used to love. I'm using the Tarte Tartisse lip paint in the shade Namaste. This used to be my go-to. It's a really pretty nude, but it definitely has a pink undertone, so it's like a pink pale nude, which I love. So now I'm going to go in and set my face. I'm using my Glow Recipe Watermelon Glow Mist to set everything in place, and that is basically it. I'm going to go ahead and dry this makeup look down, and it is complete. I really hope you guys enjoyed today's video and enjoyed this spring-inspired pastel makeup look. Let me know down below what you guys think about this look in the comments. I would love to know. I feel like this is very different, and I'm usually into the darker, deeper colors, but I'm obsessed with this look. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Definitely do not forget to check out Dossier. I highly recommend them. And of course, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys!